So here I am in the shop, working on a project. I drew someone's name in a Secret Santa, and he was a baking enthusiast. So I decided to make him a bread knife. So here I am cutting the basic shape out of some C-channel. You may recognize this C-channel from a previous video. I used it for the cleavers in the chopping blocks video. I'm just using the angle grinder and a cutoff wheel here to rough out that basic shape. Little Duresta style self-advertisement here. And then I'm clamping it in this little vise that I got from the antique shop for $12. I was really excited about that little vise. Because the shop that I use doesn't have one. Casualty of the shop there. The shop that I use doesn't have a working vise like that, so that little one saved my butt a few times. It was really nice, and it moves all around. It just clamps onto whatever surface. There's my cousin Jeremy showing me that you gotta move the metal closer to the blue. So I'm just straightening out this angle in the metal and quenching it. And then I'm taking off the outside layer since that is galvanized. And galvanization is actually really dangerous to eat. So it's important just to scrape off that outside layer of the metal. And the flap disc does a great job of just that. It cleans everything right up. I love flap discs. And then what's a bread knife without serration, right? Like the master knife maker that I am, I did no research before attempting to serrate this. I just jumped right in and did a mediocre job. Mike Montgomery might say 1-800-SUPER-PRO, because I did struggle with this, the serration. And I'll leave you with some nice filing ASMR here. I think I gave up on this method. I'm just tracing the basic shape for some knife scales out of some scrap molding. Best wood for knife scales is scrap molding. Maybe even pine. I'm not as confident as Jimmy with the bandsaw. Mr. Freehand everything sideways and upside down. I like my thumbs. And then putting the knife scales on, something big that I learned from doing the chopping blocks project was to pre-drill everything beforehand. Glue one side on, wait for it to dry, drill through it. Glue the other side on, wait for it to dry, drill through it. I look forward to having my own shop with a variable speed drill press, where I could go straight through the whole handle after it's been epoxied on. But for now, this is the best way because it helps everything line up. Using that black spray painted piece of plywood did help everything contrast a lot, but it made a terrible anvil earlier in the video. If I had just hammered that hot bent metal on the cement floor, it would have gone a lot easier. Just gotta weight that down. Let it sit. Here I am, back again, drilling out the other side. To make way for some little brass pins. So satisfying. I'm just filling in the gaps. And then, as you can see, I came back to clean up those serrations with this little Dremel stone tool. Definitely got my money's worth out of that Dremel. I think I paid $40 for it on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or something like that, and it's paid for itself for sure. And then I had just shaded in some areas that I wanted to sand away to give that handle some better form. And the handle of this knife was based off of a kitchen knife that I had seen recently. In retrospect, it worked fine, the shape of the handle, but I don't think it's me. I don't think it's my brand exactly. I kind of like things to be oversized and big and beefy and sturdy, and this was more stylized and I'm not going to say sleek just yet because it's still like 50% of the way there. And I thought I was starting to finish it here. A little Shusugi-ban. But after I got it all sanded down, I realized that there were still some gaps that had to be filled. Ooh, look at that. I made a knife. Yeah, so I went back in to fill up the itty bitty gaps that were left, since this was a kitchen knife, and may very well spend part of its life in the sink. We wanted to make sure everything was sealed. I do like my Shusugi-ban projects. After all, it is bernbuilt, even though I don't spell my last name with a U. So this is a butcher's block wax. Let that sink into the handle a little bit, and then hit the blade with some mineral oil, which is food-grade mineral oil for kitchen knives, for raw steel kitchen knives. Okay, here's my grimy hand, everybody. Time for buffing. This is that little sponge wheel. I think I went through 2 or 3 of them on this blade. And then, obviously, just a little buffing wheel. Pretty shiny for a, 3-hour project. Gotta put the knife somewhere. You can't just hand it to him. Not bad. Holds like a knife. Stores like a knife. But does it cut delicious, tasty sourdough like a knife? More or less. More or less. Maybe it's the thought that counts in this circumstance. If nothing else, it'll make a great zombie weapon. Thanks for watching, everyone.